Alright, my YouTube family and friends, welcome back to another video. Thank you for watching. This is your girl, Miss Bev. And Miss Bev is here today to talk about issues with land developments in Jamaica. Alright? But before I even get into the video, just a little fun fact about Jamaica. That Jamaica is loved for its rich cultural heritage. Very loved. Its music, its food. Oh my God, Jamaica is just loved for all those things, for the beauty, for all of these beauty, for the beautiful landscape. Yes, it's a place of land, of wood. It's a place of wood and water. And sometimes when the rain comes too much, the big floodings come. But when there's no flooding, I'm telling you, the sunlight, the sun sets, the sun rises. The wind, the breeze, it is so beautiful. So I was doing a video before, guys, and a call came in. And I'm telling you, this is what I like about Jamaica. I mean, you cannot trust everybody. I'm not telling anybody to come out and trust people. You have to develop relationships. Use your two ears to listen a lot. Use your two eyes to observe a lot. Use your one mouth to talk less. And to just find people that you can work with. This person who was recommended to me, I told you about him, who would take us around if Sister Dawkins is not available. And he was the one who introduced the bus driver to us to take Kayla to school. And this was him just checking in to make sure, how did things go yesterday? Because it's the first time I'm meeting the bus driver, but because he was recommended, the school knows him, things like those, you feel a little more comfortable, you pray about it, and you go forward. So he was checking in, so I had to cut the video and start all over. But it's okay, because I don't understand some things, so I am starting over. Now we're talking about issues with land developments in Jamaica. And one of the things, before I even get into some of these kind of things, is that we go out and we buy used cars, or we buy a brand new car. And we go home, and a lot of times they tell you, check it out before you buy, check it out before you buy. Bring your own mechanic and check it out. But yet we go in, and because we have money to spend, we go and we buy, we go home. And then a month later we start complaining, and we start suing, and we start, and now there's nothing we can do because we did not do our due diligence, right? People, you're coming home. Some people are saying, oh yeah, these developments are preying on the diasporians and what have you. Nobody's preying on anybody. The things are here. Nobody's telling us we can't check it out, we can't do this, we can't do that. It's up to us to do our due diligences, guys. As I said, you want to come home, you work hard and you're planning to come home. Guys, could you please come home and spend some time in this place before you pack up and come? A lot of us have left the country many moons ago. And yes, we find ourselves in these places with the bitter cold winters, and after a while, our bodies are saying, no, we can't do this anymore. And so our choice is, let me go back home. It's warm, the beaches, I can go there, get the salt water in my body, I can do this, I can do that. People understand my language, and yeah, it's a good thing. But why not come back to see how it is now? How it has changed since we left donkey years ago. It's not the same. And so we start saying, all right, I saved up this money and they're selling these homes for X amount. And yeah, we might get a realtor, we might get somebody to represent us, and they purchase these places for us. We don't come look at it. We don't take the paperwork and go through it. A lot of us are not able to do all of that. And so we're just spending our monies blindly. But it's two ways to look at the situations, guys, right? And this is just my point of view. Don't, you know, I'm telling you from experience that, all right, so if you look out in my yard, you look and you see nice, it looks smooth, right? Looks like that. But if you walk on the grass, you find a lot of holes in the grass. Because when these people dig down and they shovel down and cut out, root out trees and they do all of this, don't expect it to be perfect. Don't look at green grass and think when you step out there, you're not going to be stepping in a hole somewhere. It is not what it seems to be. Some people are saying, oh, the developers are robbing people and the developers and the developers. Why don't we stop that? First of all, let's look at the infrastructure, right? Let's look at the infrastructure in this little Jamaica. Our little Jamaica, right? You look at the infrastructure here and you have to understand that there's a lot of stuff that is not going to, it's going to have a strain. So these rapid urbanizations and creating all these communities and whatnot, it is going to put a strain on the existing infrastructure. You can't expect that the same little power company that was carrying, say, a 1 million homes or whatever, businesses and whatnot, is going to be able to distribute to 3 million more people at the same rate. You're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. So unless the infrastructure is being developed to meet the demands of these people, a lot of us coming home, we want air conditioning. This was not something years and years ago, even into the 80s, the 90s. Nobody had air conditioning in their homes like this. The very rich people might have had this, but it was in the 90s that you started having air conditioning units that could have, they're not in the windows, but they made them so that they could go on the wall and you punch a hole and have them bring in the waters outside. So it's a lot we have to think about. It's not about developing and creating these beautiful homes that we think is perfect. First of all, a new house is going to settle. So when we're saying a brand new home and nobody lives in it, this and that, remember when you buy a brand new home or you build a new house, even for yourself, you don't see the crackings and the problems until maybe a year or maybe even 6 months afterwards, because the house has to settle. And during the settling process, things are going to shift. When those things shift, it's going to create a problem. Some people, and I'm talking on this because a friend reached out to me to talk about some of these issues. The issues can become issues because we are not realistic, guys. If when you buy these things, you're saying to yourself, well, I know I wasn't there to look it over, so I know when I go home, I might, in my head, I might expect this or that, but I have to be realistic that there are going to be little things I need to fix for myself. When I go in, the people build up a space. When I go in, I have to go to make it mine. I have to go in to do what I need to do. I have to look out for if the place settles that there are going to be cracks. That maybe these people, because they're creating so much homes, that somebody might put something in that was a little lean or probably not as straight as it should be, but I have to expect these things. So if you come with that expectation that yes, there are going to be things I have to work on, you're not going to have as much problems. People talking about, oh, water and this and that. The infrastructure was not there to carry this load of what is being placed on them. So there's nothing wrong, guys. If you want to enjoy your space, come home planning to buy a drum. They have 800-gallon drums. I look around me and see so many people with their black drums. So they're not just coming in expecting to have perfect water flow every single day, but they come in and they're putting extra things in place. to make sure that if the water has to go off, which it is just interesting how some people are unrealistic. Like they expect the little Jamaica that has come such a long way to have perfect things, even though when they were here years ago, water used to cut off in the morning, don't go on back till 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. They have experienced it. But all of a sudden they're buying these places for multi-millions of dollars and they feel like, oh, this has changed. Hasn't changed. The infrastructure is not there to keep this thing. They have to cut water sometimes. When the droughts come, what do you think? You're going to have free water running because you live in a development or because you bought a $50 million house? No. Let us be realistic, guys. If we are realistic, then we don't have the issues at all. Come home to this little Jamaica understanding. Jamaica is a developing country. We're not going to get the pleasures that we get from a developed country whose infrastructure is solid and you know and that is it. We have to come home and do a little bit. So let's think clearly, guys. Let us think clearly. Some people are saying, yeah, you build your own. Even if you build your own, you're going to have issues. There's no perfection anywhere. All right? You build your own, your family members might rob you, or you might lose time from work to come down to oversee it. Once you leave, the workmen might slack off or steal some of your product, whatever they are, your resources, and sell it or give it. It is a catch-22. So if you want to buy a home, buy your home. Don't be afraid to buy your home. Don't be afraid to invest in a home. Buy your home. But understand that there are things that you're going to put in place to help you go along. You're afraid of electricity going off? We know that happens in Jamaica. It happens. Come down with a generator. Get your home, get the double thing, whether you're doing the solar panels or the generator, and have the dual thing in your house. It means that the power goes off, your other thing goes on. It means that you'll still get to keep cool. Again, I say, get your water tanks. Get your water tank. Get one for the kitchen area, one for the bathroom area, and go enjoy your life. The people who are not having any problems are the people who are realistic and know that they're not going to get perfection, but they'll get a building. They'll get a nice building. But if it's brand new, understand it's going to sink and settle. It's not sink as in bad, but it's going to settle. And once it is settled, then some little things are going to be a little bit off, and it's no big deal because you're looking at a nice structure. Don't let the little things take away your joy. Look at the whole thing and say, well, you know what? This shifted and I might have to get somebody to do this, but that's nothing compared to having a whole nice building around you. I want you to learn to appreciate those things that are there to appreciate, instead of just throwing away everything, all the nicer things, you throw it out because one little thing was not perfect. So we look at the infrastructure. We know that there's going to be, if we're not careful, inadequate waste management. You're going to have a lot of traffic congestion. You're going to have insufficient public services. More people coming in, more things to manage. I told you about going to the bank. 2 customer service people, over 3 hours with one of them working with one of us returning resident who did not educate herself how to use the things that she needs to be able to use, who left her country, I think was England, and come home not knowing how to. And Jamaica does not have the resources to feed all of this. I've gone to the tax office in Montego Bay, and it's the same thing. They don't have enough people to cover the counters. They don't have money to pay all these people. So the wait time in these areas are long wait times. So we have to come home with that sense of, I plan to wait because I know if you look at the buildings that you're going into, they're small buildings. There's nothing huge that can hold a lot of people. And so therefore, we must expect that we're going to wait. So that's why I also said in a prior video, Jamaica no problem, or Jamaica be patient, man. Because believe me, you have to learn to be patient here. There's no perfection. Don't worry about getting a home. I suggest in this community where I live, they pick up the garbage every Saturday morning. You can know the truck is coming. So when I did the chicken and clean up the chicken, I don't put it out there. At the side of my fence around there, you'll notice there's a grill garbage disposal bin. It's not a bin, it's a grill back thing out there with a thing to pick up, a cover, and you put your garbage in it so that it can be secure, it won't blow around. But what I don't do meat or stuff that will stink in it. I put them in the freezer, and on Saturday morning I make sure that's when they go out into that thing, because I know the garbage is coming. So you look around for the community that you're planning to go in. As I said, come home for a minute, try to rent an Airbnb in the community you try to move into, and see how things function there. See what it is like, and then make a decision to spend your money. Spending multiple millions of dollars doesn't mean that you're going to be treated special, because they don't have that here. They don't have a special space for you to go and to use the bank because you're coming back. You're coming back, you're returning, and oh no. You're gonna have to go in them small banks like everybody else and go stand in line and go wait like everybody else. There's nothing special. Then look at the environmental concerns. Development projects sometimes lead to deforestation. Look, I was coming home the other day and I looked to my few days, like in a week before, nice greenery going. Coming home, I think it was yesterday, when I looked to my right, the whole hillside is shaved down. All the trees are gone. Everything, because they're planning to put up a new development up there. I was like, whoa. And even I said, where these developments are, I used to drive past these areas a long time ago, and they were lush. But now with all these developments, then what do? They're cutting down the trees, they're cutting down the plants, they're cutting everything down. And so we have to expect those things that is going to create a loss of biodiversity and degradation of natural habitats, right? Coastal developments can also impact marine ecosystems and coral reefs. I look out, there are 2 hotels in front of me out there. 2 hotels right there on the water. And I'm like, dang, what's wrong with these people? 2 hotels. And I'm saying, are these people really getting tourists? Are people really filling up these rooms? Because I don't think so. But they're out there, they're building and they're building and they're building now. It's like the beachfronts are free land. So they're just taking over and building right there in the water. What do we think happened to the fish and the other things that needs the space? You know, what's going on there? Then we have the people, which again, a lot of conflicts with. Should this be used as commercial property, or this should be used as residential property? And then we have the agricultural community that is being robbed of their space to plant food, which will help us, the consumers, but also will rob them of being able to sell something, and that which is their livelihood. So these developments are, they're taking over and they're using up this to build up homes and all of that, and they're making ugly multi-millions of dollars. But in the wake of building up these things, then there is a lot of challenges that are faced because of this. Land titles and property rights can complicate development projects. Unresolved land disputes and unclear ownerships can delay or derail development efforts. A lot of times people claim that it's their property. A lot of people in Jamaica don't have titles for stuff. My grandmother left 16 acres of land, and the legal title for 2 parts of the land is there, but for most of the rest of land, because it was just family land passed down to family, more family, and what have you, and so there's no title. So a lot of times people are developing, even you want to come home and buy property, but you have to be careful. Because a lot of times even your families are saying, oh, Master John have a piece of land, if you sell, you must sell it for 3 million. And you feel like it's a good bargain. But once you turn over that 3 million, you can't find a title for your land, and now it becomes a problem. So all of these things, guys, as I said, and I'll say it loudly again, be present. Be present. Take time off. If this is your retirement thing to have, you don't want stress in your retirement age. You want to come home, you want to feel free like a bird in a tree, and you want to enjoy what you have invested in. So a lot of times we find these problems, whether it's in a development, in a land development, hopefully by the time the houses start go up, then the titles and all of that is secure, and it's you and them now to get the proper title for your space, and you're hoping for the best. Then let's look at the economic inequality. My heart ached, when they started building, and I saw the first homes, they were like 17 million. And then further down, I've been looking a long time, Then I saw where, I'm looking at these prices of these homes going up, and they're getting more expensive, and it's ridiculous. And what bothers me worse is when they quote them in American dollars. And I'm like, who are you really? You're not doing this for the locals. This is all to entice again the diasporans to come home. Because a local person cannot afford the price of these things that they're putting up. The rooms are not huge at all. All of them have this open concept. Why is that? Because it's easier to just have a big old space open, and they said there's the living room, the dining room, and the kitchen. Right? And it is interesting. But if your mind is not into whatever, then you come home and you're just happy to be home, to enjoy all the other things, the other cultural things, and to just have a dry space to put your head. So you're not getting caught up in all the little nicks and no. You're just giving God the glory to be home, to appreciate his handiwork around you. You appreciate the cool, the weather. You appreciate their music, their food, and you give thanks. So when you look at these developments and the economical disparities, we look at the developments that are just benefiting from the wealthy people, right? A lot of the local people get displaced because they can't afford. And when they build these things, then the little surrounding areas, prices go up, this change, that change, and they can't afford it. So the locals end up moving away, and the struggles are real. So yes, there are many challenges, but what we need to look at, and as I said, let's be realistic. let us first and foremost be realistic. You're planning, you're thinking about coming home for retirement. Start building up your time, your vacation time, your sick time, whatever. Take a few months to come live in the space that you want to retire in. Every development, I think, has Airbnbs in them. Every one of them. They might be expensive, but I was down here one time in one of them for 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks. So you're listening to the sounds at night, you're observing how the place is run, you're doing all of these things because this is where you want to live. And you want to know what it sounds like at nights. You want to know what it sounds like in the daytime. You want to see what your neighbors will look like. You want to hear if people are cussing and carrying on like they're next door to you in Brooklyn or Bronx or Queens. You're looking for these things. You take your time, you get up and you get out and you go around, you look at traffic, you look at all those things. You get up, you go out, you're looking to see the amenities that they offer. How are they kept? Are they broken? Are they maintained? How are they kept? And so if you're here long enough, you're going to see if water goes off, how many days, if the light goes off, how long, you're going to experience all of this. So please come home, observe, and then invest your money. My biggest problem is because it is tropical. I don't like some things, and I don't like the lightning and thunder. It is scary for me. The loud boom and the sharp lightning, it's scary for me. The other morning I was in bed and I heard thunder, and I did see lightning, but it wasn't loud and unforgiving. It was just lightning, and the place lights up, and I closed my eyes and I stayed in my bed. Usually I get up and I make sure I am where there are no windows, like I am closed off. Because these things, I think I'm traumatized from a kid. Granny sent me in the house to get a needle, and when I went in, I had the door open, the front door was open. I picked up the needle off the little cushion thing she had it on, and just as I picked it up in my hand, the sharp lightning came right through the front door, pow! And I'm sure it hit that needle. I'm sure the needle is what attracted it to me right there, and that thing scared the crap out of me, people. It scared me. And so for me, I don't want people to say, but you trust God, and God says, oh, to take away the fear. Listen, you're human beings, and there are some things that you're not going to be comfortable about. So let's be realistic and stop acting like we're not afraid of anything. We can face everything. I am a human being first, and then I know that I am not the Almighty. I am just a human being. So that's my message today, guys. You're planning to buy property, you're planning to invest, whether it is privately owned, you still want to know how your community, what it sounds like at nights. You still want to know what people do in the daytime. Because you have to be realistic, The reason why I don't mind the gated community is this. When you go back to your local communities, I'm not saying if you're rich and you live in a rich community, I'm not telling you not to go back to that community. But when you are in a community where you're doing a little bit better than the others in the community, understand that you can become a target. You can become a target if when you go out there, you're driving back in your nice car and everybody else around you has nothing. When you go out there, you're coming back with boxes and boxes of goodies taken out of your car and into your house. When the neighbors have nothing, have 3 or 4 children over there, they're all peeping and watching. They have a father who might not be working, a mother going out to do a little day's work and coming back in. And yes, you will give them something, but there are people who go home with the idea that I am not going to help others. If you go home with this idea, you come home with that and say you're not going to help others, and you're coming in and you're the only one you're going to become a target. So you want to make sure you're coming in and spending time to just see how people will treat you, what people are expecting, And so, whether it's gated or it's private, you want to come in. Just like you're in America. When I went to Connecticut to live, the first place I lived, I went there and my sister lived in the building, and I don't like apartment buildings. That gives me it's creepy for me. It is hard when just a wall is separating me from another person over there. Very hard. And so you listen at night because I don't want to hear shots firing and things like those. you know so you want to live in the space, and then as soon as you get the chance, I was able to move out into my private space. But while it lasted, you have to deal with it. That's where you're going out in the mornings to work. That's what you're going through. And you're coming back in the evenings, and at night you go to bed. Yeah, you're going to hear the person up above you when things are not so right. You're going to hear the noises. When next door on this side, you're going to hear them. And then you're going to the kitchen on the other side, and you're going to hear other people's life stories. So again, I'm able to make the decision. How long do I want to stay here? Do I even want to stay here? And you can move on. So again, you're investing in Jamaica. The developments are not perfect. There's no perfection. So read the documents that you get. Read the documents that you get. Try to read them for yourselves, because you might get a lawyer to read it, and the lawyer can interpret it a different way than you would have interpreted it. So again, just be present. Just be present so that you don't end up losing out. Again, don't look for perfection. If you're looking for perfection, you're not going to retire in Jamaica, because there's no perfection. It's a small, developing country. It doesn't have the resources like the developed country. The infrastructure is not there like the developed country that you're coming from. Lights are gonna go out in the day sometimes, or even in the night. Water is gonna get cut off sometimes. Garbage is not gonna get picked up sometimes. And all those things you have to take into consideration as you plan to come. That this place does not have the capacity to be perfect. You come home, look at your alternatives, and make sure that you put those in place. Your solar system, your water tanks, those are some big pluses if you want to have less headaches. So I did look at the video, and I see what they were talking about, and some of the things that they're talking about is not something, that, because we have to be realistic. Again, people cutting down the hillsides, they're buying up these properties for how much I don't know, little or nothing, and because they have ideas. We don't come together and plan and build. Some of us, our families have 14 people, capable people. We don't put our monies together, our heads together and say, dang, I might not be able to build a 1,000 unit development, but I could build a 20 unit development and make sure that it is nicely run and nicely taken care of. But no, we don't come together. We fight against one another, we angry against one another, we separate, and each time we can only do so much. So much. So we end up with absolutely nothing because we don't build together. So those who can, they come in and they take over and they build and they do what they do, and it's up to us. And again, we have choices. We can take it or we can leave it. So that's the message for today. Maybe I got carried away because I've been talking for 34 minutes. But just do your homework, guys. Do your research. Do your research, because at the end of the day, there is no perfection here. So thanks for watching. Please remember to like the videos. Remember to share the videos. And please come back for the next video. So thank you. Have a great one, my people. Thanks for the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel, the MVP family here. Thank you all. I noticed that I'm now at 4,900 and something and I'm just grateful to God for the growth. Continue to support, guys. Continue to support. I must say also, this video is not only about the issues with in these developments, but also to say thank you to my MVP. She's also a member of the MVP family. Thank you for donating to the little Kayla's school and lunch. She sent us $100, which will cover for the rest of the month. Remember, I said $500 a week, and so $3,000 for the transportation and $2,000 for her lunch for the week. So the $100 that she sent, oh my God, yesterday I was talking about it, and by the time I got off, I got a WhatsApp message that she was sending something to my Zelle account. And when I went and checked, it was $100. And I said, my God, thank you. May you just bless her up, bless her, for that contribution. And I hope, I pray that God will continue. But you know that God promised that when you do good, especially for the fatherless, the motherless, the widows, the poor among us, that He blesses us tenfold. So I know that you will be blessed tremendously for looking out for little Kayla. And yes, that will cover her the rest of the month for her. So thank God. So I don't have to pay that out of my pocket. I so appreciate you. Just giving God the glory. So guys, if we're selfish, then we have nothing to get. But you know, we get a little drip. But when you openly, when you have that heart of just doing, then God does open doors for us, and I am telling you, I'm a living testimony of that. So yes, He continues to provide, and little Kayla is covered for the rest of the month. Praise God. So take care of yourselves, my people. If you can't be good, be careful, but onward and upwards always. Take care.